Athletes of Reddit, what's the best piece of trash talk you've ever heard during a game? When we play against the boarding schools, your parents don't love you. I was up in the nosebleeds at a Jays game and one of our outfielders, Colby Rasmus, was playing particularly bad. The old timer behind us started throwing insults, the most memorable one being, if you were a Monopoly spot, you'll be Baltic Avenue. I laughed so hard. Whenever we play the Catholic private school in football, the starting cornerback would always yell at the wideouts, Jesus loves us for free. After a huge block, take that weak crap back to Candyland. I'm using this from now on. Buddies and I playing as strikers during high school soccer would always talk crap to the opposing defenders. Problem was, our team was god-awful and never would have the ability to back up our smack talk. So, it would always resort back to telling them we would destroy them at FIFA. Squash player here. We don't talk trash because we understand how lame our sport is. We played against a team whose best player was seriously named O.J. Simpson. Never have I heard better prison and murder jokes, and the dude was mad. Player on the other team, hey, you aren't wearing a mouth guard. My teammate, yeah, your mom loves it when I don't wear protection. Guy from the other team yells at one of our guys, frick you, you dirty dongsucker. Buddy from our team yells out IT was clean. Played club hockey in college. One Friday night we were playing a school and some of their fans were sitting right behind our bench heckling us all game. At one point one of the guys yells, you losers got nothing better to do on a Friday night than play a club hockey game. A kid on our team stands up, turns around and says, bud, you're watching a club hockey game on a Friday night. After a stunned silence they moved to another part of the rink and that was the last we heard of them that night. If you'd left out any mention of what sport this was, I'd have been able to figure it out by the bud alone. On my HS soccer team during corner kicks our goalie would squeeze kids' asses and say you look cute or some crap like that. Also our captain would just stare at people's crotches and lick his lips. It's all to get in their heads or something, I swear. I had a Boy Scout leader who would trash talk the same way. That guy chooses to eat turkey bacon. Sounds like one of those Hunter Pence signs. Hunter Pence eats turkey bacon. This was a soccer game and it was getting real intense. Ref gives an absolutely bullcrap red card. Guy yells out, frick you ref, I know where you buy your tacos. Whoa, he really told that referee. I played water polo through high school and college. A good friend was on the team, and a bit crazy, in a good way. She used to whisper in the ear of the people she was defending, I'm peeing on you. It was hilarious to see these other girls just recoil in horror. To the best of my knowledge, she never actually peed on anyone, but I would not have put it past her. Oh my god, that girl is enormous. She's a giant, frick you. I smell the blood of an English Kenti. I've eaten burritos bigger than you. I've crap burritos bigger than you. I wrestled in high school. I used to whisper in guys' ears during matches. My go-to was to ask if they moisturized because they had really soft skin. Not really smack talk I guess, but I thought it was funny. Your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. Last Friday a freshman was trying to act tough, saying he was the hardest kid, to one of the senior football stars. The senior gets annoyed and looks at him and says, I've had boners harder than you, and walks off. HS football. Opposing player to teammate with two dads. Yo, your dads are gay. Teammate ignores him. Second teammate chimes back. So you're saying that your two dads are straight? Turns to the rest of our team whilst pointing at the aforementioned scholar of an opposing player. Look at this freaking loser. His two dads are straight. Played a team in football whose names were the Elks. Thus we would chant elk is plural. Take that. Sigh. In youth hockey, we had this man-child on our team named Chris. Chris was 12 going on 28, almost 6 feet tall and already shaving. In our league on a different team was another kid that developed early. Whenever our two teams played and they were both on the ice, they'd go extra hard against each other, sort of as a way to prove who was the baddest in the league. Chris put an end to the rivalry one game. Chris comes from the other side of the ice and catches the other big kid not paying attention. checks him off his feet and he goes into the boards like a tackling dummy. He's just a crumpled mess on the ice and about to cry, but not from pain but from pure shock, and everyone's cheers jeers. Before we can gather ourselves to play on, the kid's dad comes running down the stairs to the glass, yelling, "Kid's dad, that's my son. That's my son. You can't do that. You can't do that to my son." He's banging on the glass, yelling at Chris, threatening him. "Kid's dad, that's my son." Chris is slowing coasting backwards, past where the kid's father is standing and banging on the glass. "Chris, he is my son now." Chris keeps locked eye contact as he skates off backwards. SKSSH. SKSSH. The look in that man's eyes. Holy heck. You could tell he knew he'd just been utterly demoralized by a 12-year-old. Humiliation then turned to rage. He was escorted out of the building as he attempted to jump onto the ice to fight our 12-year-old teammate. Dude. I once Kool-Aid Man blocked a shot in water polo in gym. As they approached I yelled, "Oh no, oh no, shot blocked, oh yeah." No one laughed but me. If it's any consolation, I couldn't breathe for the better part of a minute. Was playing ice hockey and we had a real smartass on our team. In this league girls were allowed to play as well, and this team from Portland, Oregon had two scary big girls on their team. Anyways, this guy on me team got a penalty for tripping and yelled at the ref, "Hey ref, you might as well call those girls for this high stick they gave me too." During a HS basketball game I took a very terrible shot. My coach took me out and said to me calling that shot a brick wouldn't do it justice. It was a goddamn cinder block. When I played baseball in high school, I was a pretty crappy hitter and really only made the team because I could field and throw like none other. There was this one game where the other team's catcher was trash talking every kid on our team. In my second at bat, he yells out to the pitcher, "Don't worry man, this kid can't hit for crap." This was pretty mild compared to some of the other things he said, but this time he peed off the wrong person. I proceeded to get walked, steal second, and the next batter hit a single just in front of the center fielder. Since we were down on runs, the third base coach waved me on to go home even though it was pretty much suicide. About 3/4 of the way there, the catcher already had the ball. I decided I would show him. So I put my shoulder down and charged at him, leveled that sucker and knocked the ball loose. I got up, brushed the dirt off over his face, and said, "And you can't block for crap." After that, I got kicked out of the game and eventually quit the team. Frick baseball, man. Wrestler here. My sophomore year of high school I was warming up on the sidelines before a match, and my opponent was about 4 feet away from me doing the same. The guy's coach, who's known to be in butthole, comes over to him. They both look over at me, and in a loud enough for me to hear voice, coach says to his guy with a smile, "Don't stress buddy, it's just name of my school." We were a fairly weak team back then and the coach knew it. It felt so good kicking the crap out of that guy. Actually played a soccer, football. Actually, welcome to England game today. This behemoth of a gentleman was a rather hearty weight to say the least, and was supporting our opponents, sitting in a field, making his way through a 6-pack of Carlsberg, at 10 in the morning might I add. Anyway, we play the game and take what can only be described as a 6-0 pounding, and you bet this husky beast was letting us know all the way through it. Come the end of the game there's a bit of back and forth between us and him, ending with, "Yeah well I didn't just lose 6-0 you dumb C." Up chimes one of our players with, "You could do with losing 6 stone." Face dropped like someone just shat on his birthday cake, and boy this guy sure looked like he loved cake. Best trash talk I have ever heard occurred after a hockey game in the lobby between two fathers. We'll call the teams Team A and Team B. Team A has a player who is fairly dominant and a crap disturber. The Team A player happened to injure a Team B player with a legal check during the game. After the game in the lobby, the father of the Team B player is chirping the father of the Team A player who injured his son. The Team A father is just taking it and not saying anything back. Finally the Team A father gets fed up. The Team B father says something else about the Team A father's son. The Team A father simply says, "He fingered your daughter." Could have heard a pin drop. Nothing more was said. Back on my high school football team, when we were on defense, in addition to calling out the offense's formations and making play calls, we would yell crap at their best player, often the quarterback. So imagine something like this. Strong left, cover 2 bandit, 2 back. One of us points at the quarterback. Meet gazer. We also like to break the huddle in creative ways. Hustle and flow had come out around that time, and we would often break with the middle linebacker saying whoop that trick and we would go get EM. I freaking miss high school football. During a particularly heated high school hockey game we scored and we're back at center ice. I was getting ready to take the fissy off when the opposing team's winger told my line mate, "I'm gonna score on your B butt." My teammate replied in song, "Well, I'm gonna pee on you," from Dave Chappelle's skit. I lost the fissy off, I was laughing so hard. At a baseball game the opponent pitcher threw a pitch that was quite high, to which my teammate yelled, "Somebody get a bucket, he's throwing up." I used to play on a middle school comp basketball team and the other team parents would always yell at my friend and I because we looked old to be 6th graders or some crap like that. One of the rowdier opposing parents screams at my friend that he wants to see his birth certificate. During an inbounds, my friend turns around to the parent and says my dad is in Iraq and proceeds to keep playing. The parents all stayed dead quiet for the rest of the game. The funny thing is my friend's dad was the coach and told him to say that. High school football. Bad call by ref on my wide receiver friend. The receiver on the other side of the field screams, "Do you need a seeing eye dog to go along with your hearing aids, ref?" Another flag. Coach makes him apologize and sends him off the field for the next 3 plays, and then sends him back in, smiling as he walks back on the field. I also had a friend on D-line who loved to talk crap to the dude in front of him all game. He just talked about the dude's mom all game to pee him off and throw him off his game. Just small comments like, "So I hear your mom sucks a mean dong," and then 2 plays later would just be like, "So, can you hook me up, man? Like a discount or something?" Our high school football. The memories. Playing cricket. Stood around a struggling batsman. He can't hit the ball. Break and play. Skipper of opposing team walks up to him. "Here, look, there's a load of shite on the end of your bat." Batsman looks at the end of bat thinking he'd got mud on it. Skipper replies, "Wrong end, donghead." Not an athlete, but I did hear a hockey player tell the opposing team's goalie, "You're moderately successful, O'Brien." A teammate held the jersey of an opponent down low and prevented him from going up for a rebound, and our team was able to pull the ball down and go right back up for the score. The guy went livid, screaming at the ref for not calling it, and screaming in my teammate's face for playing dirty, but the refs ignored him. As we ran down to the other end of the court, the offended player is running along with us quietly and says, "Man, that was some crap you pulled back there, but it was good crap. I need to do that in my next game. That was a really nice hold. Kudos, bro." How's your wife and my kids? 2 brothers each playing on opposing sides of a rugby league match. After some heated play and trash talk, one turns to the other and shouts, "Oh yeah? Well, my dad fricked your mum." One time a guy yelled at me, "Yo mama wears combat boots." What? It wasn't during a game, but it was the most memorable instance of trash talk I ever experienced. I ran high hurdles professionally for a short period after college. One night after the athlete dinner at a restaurant in Albertville, France, I found myself walking back to the hotel with some American shot putters. It was really dark the whole way back as there weren't many street lights and Albertville is a mountain town. While walking down an alley we suddenly heard a dog running at us through the darkness. We couldn't see anything. All we could hear was the paws on the pavement and growling. I froze in what I thought was my best option for a defensive stance, but in reality I was petrified with fear. Once the dog got terrifyingly close it started barking angrily and it became apparent none of us knew what to do. The same terror that gripped me had frozen us all to inaction. Finally the impotence became too much for one of the shot putters and he managed to yell "frick you" as loud as he could, but I swear I heard his voice was about to crack with fear. We could finally see that the dog was just some medium-sized corgi we could have torn apart with our bare hands. At roughly the moment the dog realized he had punked 3 of the biggest men in Albertville that night, and a skinny white guy that happened to be with them. He ducked into the hedge next to the road and probably laughed his butt off with the dog from the tarantula video. cross-country runner here. We don't really talk while we race. This teammate was running next to me and there was another kid from a different school next to him. My teammate is a bit of a quiet kid, not really talkative even outside races. He turns to this kid from the other school and just lets loose an uppercut to this kid's face as if he had just walked in on this kid giving it to his sister. The guy from the other school just drops and smacks the ground and we keep running. I asked him about it later and he claims to have no idea what I was talking about. That's cross-country trash talk. There aren't officials in the woods. Crap gets crazy in the woods. You've been spotted by the doggo of studying. Like this video for good grades for the next 2 years. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.